We're back to Injustice 2, and while I'm about to give you a quick recap as to how we got here, let me just ask you the one setup question for this one. What if Batman had to finally answer for being a vigilante and running a black ops operation beneath the nose of the government? If you remember, a rather pivotal moment happened in the Injustice world. If you don't remember, let me fill you in. After the events of the first Injustice, Bruce tried to make a new world. One where justice could reign. But he wasn't the only person who wanted a new world. Ra's al Ghul saw this as a chance to build his army, and with his army, he built a goal. One to stop the human race from taking the Earth with it. He kidnapped a resurrected Alfred and the children of Batman's friends and told the Dark Knight to stay away. But of course, he didn't. While Batman attacked the secret base of Ra's al Ghul, one of his trusted teammates, Jackson Hyde, betrayed Bruce and killed the president and most of the presidential party. Blue Beetle, during those events, accidentally burned down Raz's fortress, which in turn killed hundreds of nearly extinct animals, making them officially extinct. It was a bad day for everyone, and here we are now. The gurney-holding Wildcat is pushed forward as he's brought into the hospital after his gunshot wound from the evil Batman. Black Canary tells him to hold on with a panicked look on her face, and Black Lightning is bringing his kids home when he gets a phone call. Over in the Batcave, Batman, Batgirl, and various members of the team are watching the news as they question, who is Jackson Hyde? Was he working only for the terrorist group of Ra's al Ghul, or was he also working for Atlantis? Is this an Atlantean attack? Blue Beetle asks, Is there anything I can do? And Bruce tells him, go home. I didn't mean to. It doesn't matter, Jaime. Go home and don't use your powers again. Blue Beetle hangs his head low. I'm sorry. And he walks out as Plastic Man asks Bruce, what was the point of that? What did you accomplish? As Blue Beetle walks outside, Plastic Man comes up behind him. Kid, it's not your fault. It was an accident. I mean, sure, as accidents go, And Jaime stops him. One of the worst in history. Well, yeah, you contributed to a mass extinction event. Let's not sugarcoat it. But what I saw there wasn't your fault. Jaime pulls out his wings. Okay, well, I'm gonna go home. One last thing, kid. Batman he can be a jerk, and there's no real point trying to win his approval. Believe me, we've all tried. Over in the home of Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning gets a knock on the door. He charges up his lightning as he goes to answer it, but shockingly, it's not someone to kill him or his family. It's Agent Baines, and he's here to speak with Senator Pierce, Jefferson's day job. The agent informs him that they need him to come with them, and outside he sees multiple Secret Service agents and a helicopter. Back at Jaime's house, he calls out for his parents, but no one replies, and then a single voice tells him, they're not here. Jaime quickly turns around, charging up his cannons, and Booster Gold leaps out of the way. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I just meant your parents went out, kid! He takes a seat in the couch. You know, in hindsight, I can see why saying your parents aren't here in the darkness sounded all super villainy. Jaime asks him, Booster Gold, why are you on my couch? I was tired. As Jaime takes a seat next to him, Booster tells him, what's wrong with you, kid? I did something terrible. And Booster looks at his bandaged hand. Yeah, I know the feeling. I know it's been a while for you since he died, but I held his hand 5 hours ago. Jaime looks at Booster's hand. What happened to you? This? Oh, yeah. Never drink and time travel, kid. That's how you end up punching a Triceratops. So, Teddy asked me to train you, Booster tells him with a smile. But, Batman says I can't use my powers. Ha! Well, now I'm gonna train you extra hard just to spite him. First bit of advice, ignore Batman. That much self-righteous bravado just has to be compensating for something. Booster opens up the fridge, looking inside. So first, I'm gonna need 8 hours of sleep, a shower, and some bacon. And I don't care what order that comes in. Back over in the Oval Office, Jefferson Pierce is being sworn in because everyone in the line to become the president is now dead and the senator is the next man in line. Back at the fridge, Jaime asks Booster why he didn't just time travel and save Ted. And Booster looks at him with pain in his eyes and a sad frown. There are people who protect the time stream, very serious people who have never smiled in their lives, and they kept stopping me. See, there are some things that you can't change, that don't matter, but there are other things that have to absolutely happen. And Ted, he was one of those things. Jaime asks Booster why. And then Skeets, the floating robot from the future, chimes in. Because you no doubt needed to come together. The time stream demanded it. Meaning, the fate of the world depends on you two. And with that news, Booster only has 2 words. Oh, crud. But this isn't where the story must go, because finally, Bruce Wayne must answer for his crimes. During the original Injustice storyline, his identity as Batman was revealed to the world, and now it is time for Bruce to answer for his actions. The United States would like to know what Bruce Wayne and his vigilante team were doing fighting Ra's al Ghul while one of Bruce's team members murdered the entire presidential party. After this event happened, though, Bruce went home where he found Alfred still recovering from being resurrected. He held his hand after bringing him a crumpet, commenting that he probably burnt it. He then went out as Batman, 12 hours before this, and this is the memories that he was remembering during his adventure as Batman this night, is when the US government wanted answers. He remembered exactly what they said to him and how much it angered him. They wanted to know what went wrong. What happened with Jackson Hyde? What was he talking to the president and president-elect about before the events? Bruce told them, "I spoke with him about changing the world." And they asked him, what was the response? Bruce informed them, there wasn't one. We were interrupted by Ra's al Ghul's attacks. Did the president-elect seem to entertain your ideas of changing the world? Your views don't seem to align very well. I hoped we could find some common ground. I mentioned this, Mr. Wayne, because Jefferson Pierce was in that room as well, was he not? And he is now the highest-ranking member of Congress. He was also not in attendance at the inauguration. He is also the president now. Yes. So I would assume that he would be more amenable to your world-changing agenda. Bruce sees where this is going. The idea that he had everyone killed to allow Jefferson to take the presidency, and he doesn't like it, so he glares at the woman interrogating him. Mr. Wayne, that glare may work on the criminally insane inmates of Arkham that you can never seem to keep locked away, but it is far from appreciated in this chamber. While he's remembering these events, the US government implying that he had anything to do with Ross's attack, Bruce is stopping an armored car heist, and he continues to remember those questions. Why did you act on Ross alone without notifying the US government? I wanted to act against him quickly and quietly. And did you apprehend him or stop his terrorist operation? No. Mr. Wayne, did you threaten the president-elect in your private meeting? No. But you brought Jackson Hyde into that meeting. Yes. You have a history of threatening presidents, don't you, Mr. Wayne? 6 years ago, you entered the Oval Office to inform the current president that his body would be found floating around Saturn. You kidnapped Superman's parents. In the present day, while thinking about all of this, Bruce walks over to the two thugs that have fallen out of the armored car, and he picks up one of them by their shirt. Tell me, Mr. Wayne, as a man of incredible wealth and then as a vigilante, has the law ever applied to you? I have an enormous respect for justice. That is hardly an answer to my question, Mr. Wayne. Do you feel that you have failed this country? And Bruce was speechless. And he remembered that as he begins to beat the thug over and over. Let me tell you what I see, Mr. Wayne. I see another man who has put on a costume and decided to act for us rather than with us. Another man who believes that he has more right to decide our future than we do. Another man who has made things catastrophically worse. And another man of means who has completely failed to protect us. Superman had noble intentions too, but he was also trying to protect us. The only difference between you and Superman that I can see, Mr. Wayne, was that Superman was a far more competent dictator. And thinking that the United States sees Batman as no better than Superman, Bruce beats the thug so badly that he's bloodied and a mess on the ground until the whip comes out of nowhere, catching his wrist. Catwoman stands behind him, telling him to stop. The criminal scum has paid enough. I saw the hearing. Are you trying to take it all out on this one person's face? You're supposed to be locked away, Selina. It was boring, so I left. I honestly assumed someone would let me go at some point. I did what I did to keep you alive, Bruce. Can't you see that? Without a word, he tells her, come on. She follows him to the Batcave, where he speaks a code, and a second Batcave under the first Batcave is revealed. And Selina even says, of course, you would have a second Batcave beneath your first Batcave. He then reveals his new plan and his new goal. The computer program, Brother Eye. Meanwhile, there is a second story happening at the same time. Kara Zor-El, otherwise known as Supergirl, crash-landed on Kahndaq with Black Adam finding her. Damian and Black Adam have been training her, and now they are sending her off on their mission to rescue Wonder Woman from her imprisonment on Themyscira. On the island, Diana isn't exactly being a friendly prisoner, causing problems which result in her meals being taken away. She's chained to the walls with no weapons, and an army of Amazons keeping her prisoner. She truly has no hope of escape. As they leave her alone in there, Ares arrives to laugh at her misfortune, but he's also there to warn her. A weapon to end all weapons, and every war is being built. Once it's unleashed, there will be nothing to fight for any longer. She demands to know how she's supposed to beat this, when she can't even beat her imprisonment. They're using the chains that were built to hold Ares prisoner. He tells her that he needs her to remember who she was, and train the one who can stop this. Out on the sea near the island sits Kara, going over the potential targets on the island, learning of the Amazons. Damian sits nearby, informing her that none of these people can beat her raw powers, but they are skilled and together they could overwhelm her. They even have magical weapons, which are her weakness. They exchange a few more words, and then Black Adam lifts the boat, throwing it into the ocean to destroy it, creating their fake story, the one in which Kara is a shipwrecked world explorer. The Amazons find her, and right away they decide that she is someone that they should help. But one slight problem arises as the new Wonder Woman welcomes her to the island. Damian turns to Black Adam asking, what are you gonna do if she hears the truth? And he looks at Damian. She does know the truth. Damian turns to him. Don't be dumb. You literally have the wisdom of an Egyptian deity. What happened with Wonder Woman is not as straightforward as you have made it seem. And over on the island, the Amazons are trying to figure out what to do with their new guest. They decided to bring the lasso of truth to her to get some answers, and they hit her with it and they ask her why she's on the island. So without the ability to lie, she tells them the truth. She's here to get Wonder Woman off of it. The first Amazon turns to her friend, telling her to inform Hippolyta what is going on, and then she asks who Kara is. The second Amazon instead knocks out the first one, holding the lasso, and turns to Kara. Not all of us feel Diana is in the wrong. We want to help you get off this island. She walks Kara downstairs where she meets with the rest of the Resistance and the warriors who would rather see Diana free in the world to prevent man's world from ending everything. And as Diana's mother comes to speak to her, the group of Amazons is prepared to free her. They fight and they battle, but in the end, the queen got away and ran off to the Guardian Horn, where now Kara and the Amazon Resistance once battle against every Amazon on the island. It's time for the War of the Amazons. And there you have it. What's being set up now is the War of the Amazons as Kara tries to get Wonder Woman out of there and Batman tries to deal with the fact the US government isn't exactly happy with him. Every 4 weeks or so, we bring you another episode of Injustice, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel to keep up to date on that crazy storyline. You can also find the entire Injustice playlist right here, something recommended by YouTube over here, and don't forget to check out our Twitter where we bring you single tweet reviews where I read the comic book and give you my quick opinions about it. I'll see you next time right here.